And we are live. We're back with Wayne Chrebet. And for everyone watching right now on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, NFL draft is here, Wayne. Not literally here, but for all intents and purposes, April. It is all about the draft. We are uh, basically here. And still, as it stands, it could be Membu, the big right tackle, the mauler. It could be Tyler Warren, the Penn State dual threat tight end. He could block in line. He could catch passes. Or it could be a shocker and be something else or a trade down.
Yeah.
As you sit right now, do you have a feeling one way or the other?
No, I mean, there's a lot of good candidates, like you said, the O-line, D-line, certainly tight end, not receiver that early, but haven't heard anything
Yeah,
about trading down or trading back. That's the one thing I
that's
really haven't heard as much.
right.
But if they like a handful of guys and they think they can move back and pick up another pick, I wouldn't put it past them to do that. Collecting picks, that's the best thing you could do with a draft that is that deep.
Agreed. And, knowing Glenn as you do you think he'd be a coach who'd be really open and embracing to trade back if the situation and possibility were there?
I don't know. Like I said, it depends. They might like someone that's a little off the board where they can move back into the teens or something like that. But
Hmm.
most of the names you're hearing are offensive guys for the
For real.
defensive. So it's not like he's saying, "Oh, I got to have this defense with that." It's just they're wide open. They have some holes to fill. And certainly whoever you get at 7th pick is a day one starter.
Yes. And I mentioned Membu, who's he's a beast. Maybe we'll pull up some highlights of him. He's like a 330-pound road grader, just a mauler on the right side at right tackle.
Right.
From Missouri, Tyler Warren, tight ends, dual threat, could do both, could block. But there's also other guys like Campbell, Will Campbell. He's more of a classical, not as big as Membu, 318, 315,
Right.
320 kind of left tackle. I wouldn't rule him out either, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Like I said, it's good that we have enough holes to fill that we can get any one of those guys. But certainly, we're naming how many guys. So think about that. Somebody's going to be there because the quarterbacks are going first. And looks like Shador was visiting with Pittsburgh. Dion's son. I don't know about that, but
I just saw that. That's pretty interesting, right? Because
yeah. But they, we were having some visits with some of the young guys anyway. So we'll see. We'll see. You don't know. It's except Mel Kiper somehow doesn't know. We'll
yeah, he's
know.
the king, dude. He's the
Yeah,
draft king since
yeah.
what,
In like
83?
in the '90s when he started, and there was
Yeah.
no Jets X Factor to do research on.
No Jet X, no internet. That was before
So
Al Gore invented the internet.
how's the Knicks X Factor going for anybody
Oh,
who's a Knicks fan?
we're doing solid. I mean, the traffic obviously still isn't anything like Jet X. We're encroaching on 10,000 monthly readers. So
Right.
so it's coming along. It's still in the early going.
Yeah.
But we're assembling a team. Like a good portion of the team is a bunch of guys that used to do Nick stuff at ESNY, my first site. So it's
Uh,
kind of like a throwback type thing where we're trying to figure it out.
gotcha. Let me see.
Yeah, Knicks are playing right now too. Actually, they're starting. Who are they playing? Boston.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to catch that one.
Yeah. There's a couple people that if they fall back. Wow, it's interesting. I don't know what are we as far as picks. Can you look that up? Do we have round 2, round 3, round 4? How
Yes.
many picks do we have? Can you
Yeah.
show
Let me bring something up
let
here.
everybody know?
I'll bring it up. We have each round, and we're doubled up in. Hold on. Let me go to this
While you're
page.
looking, Michael Pieper said, if the Penn State DN falls to 7, do we
Abdul
take him?
Carter. Yes.
Is
This
that
has
number
been.
11?
Say it again.
He's number 11, the kid at Penn State?
I think so. Is he 11, Abdul Carter? I think so.
Is it the same number as Micah Parsons there?
It feels like it, right? Like every
Looks
great
just like him. Yeah.
yeah, every great edge player at Penn State wears 11. That happens at a lot of colleges, actually. People don't realize. Like if a middle linebacker wears 5, the next great middle linebacker wears 5. It's
What did
pretty interesting.
LeVar Arrington wear at Penn State? Anybody
I
know?
want to say 1 or 0. What was LeVar? Was he 1? LeVar Arrington?
He was a single day. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was nasty when he came out.
Let me see. That's a good question.
Yeah, I played against him.
Oh, he was 11 too.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was the
dude.
Thursday night game we played against him and Champ and LC when we did that
First Thursday night ever.
picture with Britney Spears. That one that looks like she's superimposed in it.
Yeah, dude, Brittany was she wasn't superimposed. She was actually there, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um
It was the Washington Jetskins, I think they called it, because they took like six of the Randy Thomas and Fabini and
yes, Coles.
yeah, Coles and there was a bunch of guys that were one of the returners. So
Yes. I
yeah,
remember watching that in college. I was junior or I don't know. It's a fuzz. It's fuzzy those 4 years, but it was the first Thursday night game of all time, and it didn't feature the defending champion
right.
because it was the early going, and they hadn't established that yet. So it was pretty cool that you guys were the first.
Yeah, it was cool. We didn't win, but it was pretty exciting to have that. They made a huge deal of it. But yeah, it was a good time. To be whenever you're the only game in town, there's no other games on.
Yeah,
It's nice to get to show out a little bit.
yeah. So
You get
here's
the picks
the
here.
big time draft order at JetX. We'll get a better one up soon, but 2 6, 2 5. That's what it is. So 1 2 3, 1 2 3 4, and then 2 5 and 2 6.
Okay. Yeah, certainly. If you move back just a couple spots, you can get some draft equity there. It's not
Yeah,
like, I mean, I know if you move out of the top three, you're getting multiple first round picks, but from the seventh spot, sure, there's people who are going to want to move up if they have, they're dead set on a guy.
agreed.
There
In
he is.
quarterback. I mean, that's
With the quarterback,
who.
yes. Someone's there like, is Jackson Dart moved in the top 10 now?
Let's bring up the recent ESPN mock.
Yeah,
Or
not for us. Not for us. I'm
no,
just
no,
saying
for sure.
we
It,
want people to be there still that, people are, kind of like you hear chirping about that they might want to trade up for him, and then you're in a position of leverage, man.
yes,
If you're at 7 and there's 3 guys on your board are still there, yeah, is you can move back 2 or 3 spots. You're golden.
yeah. For everyone looking right now, this is NFL mock draft database.com, who does a great job. They take info from all over the website and put it together to see where the consensus is. I'm pretty sure JetX is a part of it too. If not, I gotta get on that. Actually, reach out to them. But
Is this a mock draft or just
this is just the big board, and then we'll go to a
okay?
mock. So big board, Ward is still 1, Carter 2, and yeah, dude, this is the like you mentioned it, Wayne. I don't listen. I'd be hard pressed to pass him up if he drops to 7. I don't think Glenn would hesitate either if he
Nah,
drops to 7. He would
you can't
draft him.
pass on him.
Yeah, he's just a freak, and you can't pass up freaks, no matter the positions. That's just the nature of it, and I think he fits in that category.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at is Will Campbell's one of the guys they're talking about. They're talking about
Yes,
Yeah,
Campbell's that.
they're all right there.
Yes, they're all right there.
Yeah,
Campbell's that
little
more traditional left tackle.
yeah,
Membu's more of the road grader, the mauler, who's
five
perfect at right tackle.
5 through 9. That's basically where our sweet spot is right now.
And did you hear this one too? Let me get your thoughts on this. Ashton Genty, a running back, dude. He's a unit. He is put together. The Raiders I think the Raiders are 6, right? One ahead of us. One ahead of the Jets. I don't play for the Jets. It's there's talk that, and I don't know where it came from, but
I don't know either.
Brees Hall suddenly on the trade block. I'm sure you've seen it, and they're going to draft Genty. I wouldn't put any stock into that.
I would say 0 chance.
Yeah,
We don't need that. We got a 21 and a 4-year-old running back. One was rookie of the year.
yeah,
Or no, he got hurt. Garrett's rookie of the year, but he
yeah.
would
Garrett.
have won rookie of the year. No, they're not doing that, man. That's not a position in need. Nor is that guy much better in any way than either one of them. I mean, he's solid. He's gonna be good. He's gonna be a star. But I like what we have. I like what we have a quarterback right now. For, our backup and our starter. I like where we are. Running back right now,
Hmm.
Braylon and Brees. Let's move around somewhere else where we need some depth.
Agreed. It's like Brees, you'd be trading him low right now, like it, you play fantasy, you sell high, you want to sell
Yeah,
high, you don't want to sell low, and he hasn't hit his ceiling yet. Plus, eh, Glenn said it. They're going to use all three guys: Braylon
yeah,
Allen, Hall, and Isaiah Davis. And better yet, Brees is going to catch a lot of balls out of the backfield.
yeah.
He's going to be that guy, I think.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know if people realized last week, I said, as far as looking anywhere at receivers, there's no chance that our receiver, our 1B, 1A with
Yep.
Garrett would be Tyler Warren,
Yes.
the tight end. He would be considered your first or second best receiver on the team. So don't think because they're not going after receiver. If they don't, it's because they go after the Penn State tight end, and he could flex, he can play anywhere in the field.
100%. And listen, because it caters, it fits Fields, who he is. It fits the offense, what they're going to be trying to do. It's a different offense, man. Like RPOs. I'm still digging into the film. Oh, Wayne, I'm digging into all the film where Detroit played Chicago,
Right.
and Fields had some games against Glenn. We'll go over it maybe the next mock. You could see why he was so impressed because RPOs, zone reads, first play of the game on a read option, 50 yards, just
If you're not awake,
right off the
forget
bat.
it. If you're not awake, if it's an early game and he goes 70 on you, it'll wake you up.
Yeah, dude. So if you have a tight end, a stud tight end, receiver 2 is not going to be as important. And I'm not saying they're not going to play 3 receiver sets. Of course they are. You got to spread them out. But all right, this mock draft here for the people listening to audio only, can't forget about them. Cam Ward to Tennessee.
He's locked in at that. He's locked in at one.
Yeah, I think so.
Did he
I
have his
think
pro day or did he? It doesn't
ye
matter.
yes, he did. And that is what pretty much locked him in with Tennessee because they were there and everything seemed to be cemented at that point. People were up in the air. Uh, who is this? NFL.com. Who did this one? Rhett Lewis. Okay. Rhett Lewis, he has the Raiders trading up to 2 to get Travis Hunter.
He wants to play receiver. I heard he just did receiver at pro day. He didn't do any backpedaling at all.
Really?
They thought he would play corner, but looks like he wants to play receiver because he did nothing but receiver drills.
I didn't even hear that. Wow.
Yeah, that's what they said on NFL.com or whatever it was. It was a reliable source.
Interesting. Let me ask you this: putting you in his shoes, what would you do in this process? Would you try to keep both positions open?
For him,
Yeah, if you were
I mean,
him.
he was outstanding at corner. He made some plays on, I mean, there's a ton of players I remember that played corner and returner in the league. Not as many receivers, but a corner, he could play corner. And if he wants the ball in his hands, you put him back at punt return or if you go for return.
Yeah, because I
That
was
would be
I
my
was
feeling on it. And he could be a gadget play, but
yes.
you can't, he can do pretty much anything. I
Y-
mean, I would look every week and be like, oh, 6 for 110 and 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
8 tackles, 2 pass breakups. It's like it didn't stop. It was week by week. He didn't have an off week, so that kid's special. And if you ever watch him on his podcast and stuff, he doesn't go out. He doesn't drink. He just
No,
plays his
no, he
video
doesn't.
games and hangs out. He seems like a super kid.
Yeah, he's all business. And you know what I think? You know what I'm thinking? I would try to keep both positions open in this draft process, but at
Yeah,
the end of the day, it's so much easier to play both sides if you're corner first,
yeah,
right? Because you could sneak in there offensively as a gadget guy, as a fourth receiver, jet motion. The other way, if you're full-time offense, it's tough to sneak in defensively,
yeah.
you know?
All right, continue here. So Giants taking Abdul Carter.
Yeah, they get no quarterback, which, I think they're envisioning based on Winston and Russell. By the way, how about that pair? Russell Wilson and Winston in the same quarterback room.
They got a lot of years and a lot of interceptions between the two of them.
Oh, it's gonna be good. And then you got the Pats taking Will Campbell, okay, the traditional tackle we just talked about, more like 318, more of an anchor on the left side. Jags number 5, Mason Graham. Here's the other option, dark horse option for the Jets. D tackle, stud like Quinnen Williams, a little bigger than Quinnen Williams. But the question is, he played 3-4 in Michigan. and he was more of a Quinnen Williams type 3-tech over the guard
Right.
instead of like a bigger nose tackle, which I think Glenn is after. But still, if Glenn thinks he could gobble up blocks, I don't think he'll hesitate. So he's a dark horse, Mason Graham.
The what's I was gonna say, who did we pick up for the D line in free
Nandi.
agency? Who that?
Nandi. We got Derek
Okay.
Nandi from the Chiefs.
Okay.
And we'll go to the depth chart in a second. So we have Quinnen, Leonard Taylor, who I love. I love Leonard Taylor, undrafted guy last year. I think he's going to be good. And then in the bigger role, like the 1-tech role, it's Nandi and who commenters. I'm blanking on the second guy. Put that in there. But there's 4 guys. They'd still need help for sure.
Let me say something. I just read the comments.
Yeah.
This is pretty interesting take on it. Grove Pete said getting Travis Hunter is like getting 2 number 1 picks. Think about that. That makes sense, Grove. Think about that.
Yeah.
Same player can start pretty much, play 100% defense, 75% offense,
And throw the return game in too.
He proved that he can play them, 100 plays a game. He's young, he's fit. He's smart enough to pick up the system, offense and defense, and wow, that's a pretty good comment. Yeah, it's like having having back-to-back picks, the 2nd and 3rd pick in the draft.
Yeah, and if he returns punts, returning kicks is, I mean, there are hardly any kickoffs anymore. But
yeah, no on punt returns.
Yeah, return game.
Said, do you agree that one of our largest needs is a field stretcher? Tyler Warren could be that too, but is Lazard staying around? It's Tyler Johnson more of a deep there. Is Lazard staying up? Did he redo his contract?
Yeah, Lazard is still up in the air, I think.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't want to say this for sure because I don't know, but I think he's waiting on Rodgers to see where he goes.
Okay.
I don't know how true it is. I know Glenn wants him for his run blocking. Lazard and Reynolds can block great. Yeah. Tyler Johnson is that, like you said, stretch the field type. They need a tight end in this offense badly. Cowart, that's the other guy. Byron Cowart, and then Derek Nandi are the bigger, like the 1-0 tech defensive tackles. And listen, they're going to be running a 4-3. So it's not like you need a 350-pound refrigerator Perry, but Glenn's going to want some balance there.
What are we looking at? If say we go tight end, take Tyler at 7.
Mm-hmm.
What are we looking at for a second round pick? Best available? We definitely need O-line or a D tackle.
See, that's the thing. Like titling this video, right? What's the best strategy? And I went back to the mock draft. Rhett Lewis has the Jets and Genty. I hope Genty goes 6 to either the Raiders or the Browns. I mean, he has the Browns here because of the trade.
Right. Because
if you grab Membu here and at 7 in this mock draft, who's available? Shedeur Sanders? No way. They're not taking him. Jelon Walker? I doubt it. I think it's going to come down to Membu and Warren. Did Mason Graham go already? Yeah, Mason Graham went already. It's going to come down to Membu or Warren. So if you take Membu, I think taking Membu here gives you a better chance to take one of the tight ends in the early 2nd round.
That's what I was going to say. Someone had mentioned different tight ends. There's a couple really good tight ends. It's not like super, fall off after Warren.
No, dude. This guy right here, Colston Loveland from Michigan. Yeah, Loveland from Michigan. There are a lot of people in his camp thinking he's better than Warren, and he's going in this mock draft 22 to San Diego. Los Angeles Chargers. And you got Terrence Ferguson, who is he in the 1st round?
Dude, how many good tight ends have come out of Michigan? You ever realize how many good tight ends have come out of there?
No, I never put 2 and 2 together, honestly.
I can't name them all, but they've had some guys come out of there.
Yeah, it feels like they have, right?
Yeah. Dallas Clark came out of there. There's a couple guys that came out of
Penn State too. I feel like, I
Yeah,
mean, and a lot of good run blocking tight ends out of Penn State, I feel like too. Somebody said earlier that Warren reminds him of Greg Olson. Greg Olson, the Jersey kid.
that's not a bad thing.
No, that's not bad. But Terrence Ferguson, I think, still has a chance. Who's an Oregon? Wait, let me see. Let's bring him up. Who's the Oregon tight end, has a good chance to be there for the Jets in the early second round. So in terms of strategy, if you feel okay with Ferguson, he's almost 250. His blocking is nowhere near Warren, no doubt about it. 6'5", 247, long enough, 32, almost 33, and with arms. Membu at 7, and then Ferguson. That's not a bad start.
Do you want the third best tight end or the, or the, sixth best tackle? You know what I mean?
Yes.
You take you take the tackle first because you can get the, you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
What are you getting? The drop off between Warren and these guys isn't massive. But
the other way it is
from Membu to, if you look who's slotted to be a middle round pick in you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the for the line.
Mm-hmm. And like, just traditionally speaking, it's so hard to come by to grab O linemen in the mid rounds these days. Like back in the day, they could hit so much easier, but they don't get taught the right way because of the way the game is these days. So it's tough to find those guys. Tight ends you could find because they're passing it all over the lot.
Yeah, I mean, and you find guys that fit the system too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's options, and like you said, it's not like we need a quarterback. And I said this 2 years ago. I'm like, this is the first time we're going to draft not needing a quarterback when we got Aaron. It's the same situation. We have one guy I think could still be very, very good player. One that has been a good player that certainly, I think if he got in early last year, that we are borderline, if not making the playoffs. Tyrod should put in once, after the fact. Rodgers says he's been hurt for 3 weeks and that he refused doctors' examinations.
Yeah.
Now, you invest $100 million in someone, you do whatever they say.
Yes.
You want to take your temperature? Use your temperature, let alone go get an MRI or something like that.
Agreed.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. He refused medical treatment. Okay.
And in Fields, when I'm starting to do a lot more film on Fields, there's a lot of there's some positive, but there's a lot of negative energy around it.
Right.
And what I tell people is, dude, like just how the coaching let you down last year because they have a talented team. It's the same energy you have to have. If the coaching is legit this year, they could surprise the hell out of you. Like, I think that's the wild card no one's keeping in mind.
Gotcha. Hey, here you go. Iowa tight ends. Listen to this. So the kid you're talking about, what's his name?
Which one?
From Iowa.
It's Tyler Warren, Penn State.
Yeah.
Michigan. You're thinking about Iowa. Gotcha.
I was thinking Iowa. Yeah, Iowa was George Kittle, TJ Hockenson, Noah Fant, and Sam Laporta.
That's absurd.
And Dallas Clark.
That's insane. Oh, you got your yellow color. Yeah. I gotcha.
And Scott Slutzker, who played for Hasbrook Heights when I was at Garfield. He's a tight end. I remember when he went to Iowa, that was a big thing that someone from our area went to play tight end at Iowa.
Did he wrestle too?
I don't think so. But
Iowa's a big
blast from the past. Seeing that name, that's fun. He's a basketball player too. Interesting. Yeah. Everybody played 2 or 3 sports in high school. Now it's like you're kind of like pigeonholed to one sport, and because they have practices all year. We went right from football to basketball to baseball. I wouldn't have had any. I would have been bored if I didn't play all 3 sports all 4 years.
It's different these days. These kids, they get into just like specialty sports. Like they pick a sport earlier and earlier. It feels like, right?
Yeah.
95 flashback to 1995. Wayne, you had an interesting tidbit earlier in terms of, because for everyone listening, I wanted to try to get a sense of what Wayne did that offseason in 95. As everyone knows, he tried out for a few teams. Who was it? What were you doing training wise to get ready for those UDFAs, those tryouts?
You know, that was the Parisi Power Training School. You know, the friend, he had just been starting out. He didn't have a building. It was kind of like a back of a office building, whatever, like that. Like I was running like 40-yard dashes on a 30-yard track. It was just stupid, running into the wall basically. So basically, going to him I was just learning how to run a better 40, how to burst. I never ran out of a 3-point stance before. Get the arm up and timing and all.
So
Staying low.
you weren't a track guy. I'm
No,
assuming.
I mean I was just trying to. The first time I ran my 40 at Hofstra, I just was standing like a receiver.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to prove on the first 10 yards kind of thing. And so I worked out with him, but then at Hofstra, I had mapped out 40 yards over the basketball court. There was like a track around it, and I'd just be up there all night, out catching passes and going wherever I could to get a look if there was going to be a coach or like a B-level scout, whatever it was. But I got invited in Red Bank to go to a workout with Garrett. Jason Garrett, John Garrett's dad. Why can't I remember his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. I call him, Mr.
Garrett.
Yeah. So you got to get that. So whatever the case, I talked to him a little bit. I did the workout, and
Jim Garrett.
Is it Jim?
Is it Jim? I think so. But go ahead.
Yeah. And then they had the brother, Judd, that was at Princeton. Yeah. So I went to the workout. There's a couple of guys there, local guys. Crappy day. In March, basically April.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, did the workouts, ran some passes. Did some other things. Didn't really, we did some 40 stuff. We didn't really do crazy stuff because the conditions were so bad. A lot of route running, a lot of this, I don't remember all of it, but I remember he's the first guy. Yeah, Jim Garrett. He said, I want to talk to you afterwards. And he was the first one. He said, listen, Dallas doesn't need you. He's like, we have a, prototype we like, Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper.
Yeah, they had big guys.
He said, you can play in this league. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you can play in this league if you find the right situation. He's the first guy, someone with that much, a football brain and someone that could judge talent or judge whatever the way he judged it. He looked at me and said that to me, and I went home and I was like, wow. For him to say that to me, it gave me, a little spark that, all right, a guy like this who's been around 30 years as a scout, can say that to me. So yeah, that was a big thing that day.
I never knew that.
I don't remember. There's somebody else from that day. I remember seeing someone a couple of years ago. It's like, you remember that day in Red Bank out in the rain? I'm like, the kid was there. He didn't make it, but I was looking. I was like, wow, that was crazy. We're out there just doing those things.
That's awesome. I never heard that. Number one, that's a big deal for that guy to say. I'm looking at him right now. He's from Passaic, New Jersey. That's where my dad's from. So shout out Passaic.
Yeah. So I was from Garfield, which was right across the.
Yeah. And how close was it to the tryouts, or was it more immediately after college season? Do you remember?
Yeah, Jim Garrett. Yeah, remember the face, man. Jeez. How close? I don't know.
Was it more closer? It was. Close. I would imagine it was closer to the tryouts, probably.
Yeah. You got to remember, I was still working out, trying to find things to be seen after the combine. So I probably would still be doing that up to coming up on the draft. So because they were still having little things, but it wasn't for the top picks. They still had to work out things to go to for end the draft or needle in a haystack trying to find a diamond in the rough kind of thing. So yeah, that guy said that to me, and what happened was he referred me to John Garrett, who was the receiver coach at the Bengals. So we had some back and forth with him. He saw my tape. People don't realize that these Hofstra, see, 5'10", 185 Hofstra. It's like if it was a different school, didn't have to be a 1A school, but I had 50 catches and 16 were touchdowns.
You
That's
had it on paper. You had the credentials on paper. There's no
22
doubt.
yards a catch. It
Yeah.
was just, it was stupid, but there was no social media. There was no way getting it out there. So John said at the end of the draft, we might draft you in the later rounds. John Garrett. So
Cincy. Yep.
yeah, so whatever. The draft goes through, and I'm waiting to hopefully hit the phone rings. And I remember Amy called, who's my wife now, and she's just like, anybody call? I'm like, I thought it was a call from a scout. I'm like, get off my phone. So I go out, just I was upset I didn't get drafted, but I
Yep.
knew, because the Bengals took a receiver in the 6th or 7th round. I think he had coming off a broken leg.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Seriously. But he was from a big school, and my mom's like, someone's on the phone. She's like, it's John Griffin. I'm like, who's John Griffin? Not John Garrett. It's John Griffin from the Jets. We want to have you come in. And I was like, I never talked to you. Like, I never did a workout for you guys. A workout for the Giants. He's like, no, we're well aware of you. And I was like,
Ooh, they kept it secret.
so I was like, that's kind of weird. She said John. I'm like, all right, maybe I'm going to the Bengals. So that was that close to going to camp with the Bengals that year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something with Baltimore too?
No,
That you had?
so the Cincinnati, offered free agent, and the Saints offered
Saints.
free. Yeah.
Okay.
But
I don't know why I
I'm
thought
staying at
Baltimore.
Hofstra where the Jets, 100 yards for the Jets practice. Certainly, that was where I was going to stay.
Yeah. So it looks like round 5 in 1995. Bengals took David Dunn, 139th overall.
Check his career stats.
Fresno State.
Yeah.
Ooh, 95 to 2001, 6'3", 215 from San Diego. Yeah, he didn't do much.
No, he played, but I know he was coming off an injury. And now check the Saints in 95. Did they take a receiver late?
Let me see. And by the way, Dunn, for the record, 1,264
No, I'm
total.
sorry. Bengals. Yeah, no, the Saints, I think it was.
Yeah. I'll check the Saints. 1,264 total yards, 4 touchdowns in 7 years. And listen, 7-year NFL career, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Right.
But, with Saints, you said?
Yeah. Did they take a receiver in the later rounds?
Let's see. So Dunn was round 5. Meet the 1995 Saints. They did.
Who?
Lee DeRamus from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Round 6, pick 184.
That's where I thought I had a chance of maybe going, but that's just
Imagine that you went to New Orleans.
That's just dreaming. But yeah, well, no, and that, so that's how.
Oh,
it
he's a
happened.
Jersey kid too, Lee DeRamus.
Yeah, I watched so I was
Edgewood.
in like down by like Ocean Beach, down by like between Seaside and Point Pleasant, Lava Lake Beach, at like a bar with my parents for day 1 of the draft.
It's Saturday,
And
folks.
we
Don't
were
remember
just
this is
there,
Saturday.
just hanging out. I think we're down at the beach house and playing pool, whatever we're doing.
Yep.
And that was when, with the whatever pick, the New York Jets select Kyle Brady, Penn State from tight end, and the booze. And I looked at my parents. I was like, that must be the worst feeling in the world. Because he was such a good, I lived with Kyle my first year.
Yeah.
He was such a good guy, so polite, good Christian. I was just like, oh my God. And then I ended up being his teammate. I told him multiple, I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry you had to go through that, your first experience with the Jet crowd. But, they wanted to warrant Sapp. Remember that?
They were losing their minds because Sapp kept on dropping because of off the field questions, quote unquote. And Brady was a good dude and got off to a slow start for sure. But people forget, man, Parcells turned him into one of the best blocking tight ends in the league, probably the best blocking tight end in the league.
He was like having a third tackle.
Yes, he was dominant. And nice guy off the field, but he was nasty on the field when blocking. Yeah, that's insane, man. Just the little different things that determine fate.
Listen, and we were at the in the dorm, and I was talking to my agent and calling him like to go to the Jets, this and that. So they called me in. I don't know if everybody knows. And I thought I was signing for a contract. They're like, no, we want to work you out. Like, what? They're like, we want to work you out. I'm like,
It was a gut punch.
this is the day after. So I'm like, just me.
Yeah.
So remember Todd Haley,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
coach Pittsburgh,
His dad,
his dad Dick was the GM, and so he went
Steinberg
out there
too.
with the
Was
receiver coach.
Steinberg there too?
Yeah, he was,
Okay.
yeah, Dick Steinberg, yeah. So whatever the case, I go on the field and with the receiver coach, they basically threw me 100 passes. I didn't drop one, nothing, high, low, this, that,
Everywhere on the field.
anywhere, didn't
Yeah.
matter. I didn't care. It was like I had nothing to lose.
Yep.
True story. They've talked about it. And Richard Mann was the receiver coach, and nice, great guy, and helped me out. But after that, then they were going to sign me, and my agent was like, "Well, someone else wants to sign him." Fucking, and they got $1,500 out of it. Not free, undrafted free agents can get six figures now. So
Yes.
if, my agent calls me, he's like Art Weiss. He's like, I got you 1,500. I'm like, hey, nickel beers, dollar wing, 10-cent wings. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
we're golden, man. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that was the story. And when I went to training camp, they remembered the workout. Richard Mann, he looked at me going into camp. He said, listen, I don't judge color. He's like, I don't care if you're black, if you're white, if you can play, I'm going to put you on the field. And I just said, that's all I wanted. And yeah, he stuck by that. And that was part of the story moving up. People talk about, Kotite believing in me, but Richard Mann, who ended up coaching a long time for the Steelers, receiver coach, Richard
Yep.
Mann's the guy who gave me the confidence when I got there to just keep fighting and helped me move up there.
Great story. Great shout out. And for a coach, for someone to say that bluntly right off the bat,
Listen,
don't
I
don't
was the only
underrate
white
that.
guy in
That's
there.
good.
He's a black coach. I'm the only
Yep.
white guy in the room, and I'm far from thinking anything like that. He just said, I want to tell you, and he said that to me, and I was like, I appreciate that.
Yes.
I don't look at it that way, but it was just a cool thing to hear. Certain things happen in my life, like football life, that have like you mold you. They give you a spark. They change direction with you, change
Mm-hmm.
your way of thinking. And Jim Garrett was that day, and that worked out with Haley. Him trying to like mess me up and throw the ball on the ground over my head. And then Richard Mann saying that to me, the first day. And I was like, that's all I want, give
Yeah.
me a fair chance. So
That's an awesome thing.
and then
Thank God.
Kotai being like,
Chrebet.
you go in there. And I was like, all right. And 30 years later, I'm doing a podcast
Yeah.
talking to Michael People Jr. and Danger Zone and JJ
That's
Pauly
it, man. The
and
Chrebet, get in there.
Robbie
Give the kid a
Sabo.
chance. Yeah.
Look at these guys. These guys are showing up every week. You gotta like and subscribe. And I know I gave it before. Jets fans are usually Nets fans, but we have Nick's X Factor now.
Yes.
Check it out. I know they're playing tonight, but shameless plug for you. I'm not part of
Absolutely.
it, but
Absolutely.
yeah, this is the stuff. This is the stuff people don't know about. This is not the stuff that's been written in papers.
Love that story. The Richard Mann. I appreciate that so much. Like,
Yeah,
right, he didn't know you, and that was the first thing he said, which I loved. And I'm looking at it. He was there for 3 years. I didn't realize that. He was there for 3 years for you guys.
he
Receivers
always
coach.
used to say if you were being one way or another or sour or mad or this, he just like quit being. That's all he said. Quit being. He wouldn't say the rest of it. Hey, quit being. That's what he said to you. And you just whatever you were being, you just need
Quit
to
being.
change your attitude.
Nice. Aliquippa, by the way, from Aliquippa.
Yeah.
Guess who else was from there? I think the great Darrell Revis, I
Yeah.
believe, if I'm not
So he
mistaken.
went back. Yeah. So he went back to the Steelers. And how long did he coach at the Steelers?
Good question. Let's see. 2013 to 17. She's jumped around.
Yeah.
2013 to 2017. He also had stops with Tampa. It looks like with Dungy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Washington 2001, KC 99 2000, Ravens 97-98. So who was coaching the Ravens in 90s? 97.
Is Billick there?
It had to have been Billick, right? Because they won the Super Bowl in 2000. No,
I don't know.
Billick was part of Minnesota's great offense in 98. That's a good question. Who the hell coached the Ravens in 97?
It's funny. I don't know what it means. Dangeron said, Wayne, how many kids do you have and do you want one more?
Oh,
Smiley
Ted
face.
Marchibroda. Ted Marchibroda.
Much
That's,
brother.
yeah.
Someone wants to know how many kids I have and if I want one more.
What's the name of this
Danger
account?
zone.
Danger Zone? That's a Danger Zone comment right there. Let me
It's
tell you.
funny.
There was another comment. I can't remember where it was now. But yeah, we got a couple minutes left, guys. So get your final things in there and I'll scan the comments.
Oh, Grove Pete, who had the comment about the 208, he said, I tried out after I got out of the Air Force. Thank you for your service. For Giants FA tryouts, I ran one down out. Pass was 12 feet over my head. Joe Walton was the receiving coach. He sent me home because I didn't jump. Well, you should have jumped.
Let me see this here. Grove Pete. I tried that after I got. Wow, really?
I don't know if that's true. That's
You should have jumped. Hey,
it could be something that silly. Back then, if they have no money, no time, no feeling, nothing into you, it doesn't matter. You know, it's like who's the next guy in line.
Hey, I watched Invincible. I saw Mark Wahlberg do his thing.
Do you know that guy's like 6'2" in real life?
Yes, he's a beast tall.
And
Wahlberg's like 5'6". Yeah,
I've met him though. I've talked to him.
You've met Wahlberg?
What's that?
You met Wahlberg?
No. I meant
whoa. Okay, I wanted to see how tall. I wanted to see how tall Wahlberg was compared to you. Gotcha.
No, he's small.
Papali, yeah.
Papali, no, he's a big dude. He played in USFL like 2 years before he tried out for the Eagles.
Yeah. They
So
Disney.
He was a pro already. But sure. Yeah, he spoke at something kind of like memorial kind of thing for one of our trainers passed, and he was a very, very good guy. It's good to meet him.
Yeah, it's a great story. Vermeil too. Vermeil, amazing story in his own right. Getting to the Super Bowl, losing to the Raiders in the early '80s, and then not coaching for 10 years and coming back and winning one. Incredible. So you just love those stories.
So Johnny Zeppeli, I haven't seen him yet. Wayne, toughest defender you went against.
I feel like you've gotten that one a couple times.
On the outside, yeah. Probably Charles Woodson was really good. Tyler was good. Really heavy hands. Like if you got his hands on, he was tough to get him off you. Try to think like
can't say any Dolphins.
Try to think who I played against.
You can't say Dolphins because you tore them all up. Madison and who was the guy in the slot who covered you? Miami.
He's
who?
I don't even know what his name is. He was looking at the back of my jersey. I wasn't looking at the back of his.
I got it. I'm picturing him right now. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name.
You talking about Patrick Surtain Sr.?
No, it wasn't Surtain.
Surtain was in there a little bit, but as far as in the inside, Rod Woodson, the inside was tough when he would come down from safety. Long arms, very smart. Studied your splits and stuff like that.
And Charles Woodson.
Slide, it's actually funny because two of their dads are playing now. It's Antonio Winfield Sr. and Patrick Surtain Sr.
Yeah, and Winfield was actually, unlike his son, he was actually a corner.
Yeah. And actually, Ted Cottrell, who came to the Jets.
Yep, DC.
He said, we drafted Antonio Winfield to guard you twice a year and guard O.J. McDuffie twice a year. He's like, we drafted him to be our slot corner to cover you. That's what he said to me.
Wow.
I was like, that's pretty cool. Well, they weren't drafting slot receivers back then.
No.
Or drafting slot, nickel corners. And now that's a thing. You're bringing guys in that can cover the slot, in man and play, safety and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a starting position. Yeah. Anyone who goes with two receivers or two corners as a starter, as for a team, it's starting positions that just does. Yeah, I think you might have been right. Surtain. So Miami's secondary was Madison, and it was a good secondary. Madison, Brock Marion at safety,
Brock.
I think they brought Brock down to play you in the slot sometimes,
Him and somebody else.
and Sertan was there too.
Did I ever tell you the time? If you, I have it on my phone. Like they would do stuff. They'd high low me or combine on me, and like basically I had to pick one. I looked at both of them and see like which one I thought was the weakest one for this specific route. But freaking Belichick,
What do you do?
he would
How
have
do you do?
Willie McGinnis stand right in front of me, right in the slot,
Yeah,
hit me, and
hands
then he
on.
play the run.
Yes.
Sometimes, and I'm like, all right. So one time you see on film, he comes with two defensive backs on me like I'm a gunner. I'm pumped. Two defensive backs. They're standing in front of me like I'm a gun. I'm like talking like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, he just run right through them. It's just some of the stuff Belichick tried to do to me was awesome. It was so original and something I ain't seen before. And I was like, but those guys, they got they try to stop you in the slot because that's a big weapon now. Look how many guys made their name as a slot receiver.
Listen, I got to tip my cap to Belichick. That's like, especially in those days, he's treating it like a tight end almost, even more so because he's treating it like a gunner. But I would imagine it would forcing you and the OC to widen your splits more because of that.
You can't, sir.
I know, but like,
46
what else can you
minutes.
do?
We're like 15 minutes over. One last question. It is Aaron Glenn in practice. Yes.
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn in practice. I want to get him, and I'm not exaggerating, thousands of times. I went against him on a 1-on-1, 7-on-7s, team, 2-minute drill over all those years. And it was always a battle. No one got a layup. No one ever took a play off. And we never had any like extracurricular after the play. Like I fought with some of the guys all the time. You grab each other's face masks, you hold on to each other.
Yeah.
You get sick of each other. You play against the same person every day. Always a good battle. And, when I was there at the complex, people are like, they know the story. They're like, well, who won? And both me and I were like, it was down the middle, but yeah, he was awesome in practice, student of the game, watched a lot of film, but telling you, man, that was the guy I wanted to go against when I first got to camp, just to kind of see where I stood.
Yes.
And when I knew I could do something against him, I knew like, all right. And when it came to the games, it was so much easier because whenever I ran a route and I'm trying to lose him, Aaron would be kind of behind me. But in the game, there's nobody there. I'm like, practice was hard. The games were easy based on going against Aaron every day. So
yeah, he undercut slants in breakers better than anyone I've ever. He really didn't play slot corner, if I think about it, and he probably should have.
in practice they had it, but
Yeah.
let's wrap it up, man.
All right, wait, last one. Here we go. Last one. Favorite? It might be a tough question, actually. I would have a tough time answering it. Wayne, top 2 pizza spots in New York or NI?
NJ.
I'm guessing New Jersey for you.
You know what? In Garfield, a place called Rose's Pizza.
There we
I
go.
used to go there all the time. Rose's Pizza was in Garfield. That was the spot I used to go all the time. As far as down here, you know what the good place to go? They got the eating challenge. Pete and Elda's have like you eat the the whole pie, thin crust, and you get the free T-shirt. Which you buy the pie is like $25, and you don't do it. You're not buying a T-shirt anyway, so you're $15 in the hole right away. But awesome,
smart bastards.
Yeah. Try getting in there on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's not gonna happen. But Pete and Elda's, and then Roses and Garfield.
Nice. All right, Wayne, folks, Jets fans, catch us next week. We'll be back. And a couple more shows to the draft. So like this video, share it, do all that good stuff. And iTunes, of course, Apple, Spotify, and jetsxfactor.com. Use discount code 80. That'll get you a nice discount.
Thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Take care.
All right. Later.